welcome back. A milestone in my MX-5 ownership is fast coming up, and that's been 4 years since I've owned my 2020 ND2 RF. And I thought it would be helpful to do a video, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You join me on Blackbridge Road in Auckland, just out the back of Dairy Flat, a rural suburb to the north of Albany. There's some great roads up here. I absolutely love it. They're quiet, they're a good speed, and you can enjoy them without being in any danger of losing your license. So let's start with the good. I adore this car. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know I adore this car. I went through a journey to find this car. It spoke to me as soon as I drove one, and that was that I had to have one. It is perfection in its simplicity. Rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated 2-litre engine, 6-speed manual gearbox, and that's it. In its purest form, a driver's car. The gearbox is absolutely beautiful to use. It's a car that rewards you putting in a bit of effort and learning how to do things. The big one for me, rev matching. When I first got this car, I had no idea how to rev match. Couldn't do it. But now, it's a joy. And when you do it, it feels fantastic. And you pull it off and you know that it was you. It wasn't the car, it was you, because it's all mechanical. There's no assistance. There's no automatic rev matching. There's no computer to blip the throttle for you. And if you get it right, power to you, well done. It is a joy. It's absolutely joyous to get it right. It feels sensational. And you find yourself just blipping gears for no real good reason. It rewards you. It gets even more engaging the harder you push this car. It is fabulous. This car is a tonic. If you've had a shit day, get in this thing, find a back road, go for a blat. It will cure you. Maybe not of everything, but it will absolutely do you wonders. It's been a great ownership experience. So the car came with 3 years free Mazda servicing. There's been nothing out of the ordinary go wrong. I mean, you would hope there wouldn't be in a car that's 4 years old and has done 30,000 kilometres, but you know, people have had issues in cars with less mileage, we know that. The other great thing about this car is it feels like the fantastic Mazda MX-5 formula refined. A small, light, focused sports car. The fact that you can park an ND next to an NA, you know they're from the same family. They're a similar size, they're a similar weight. 35 years later, the MX-5 has not become a bloated caricature of itself. It's just a joy. Like, I'm coming down this corner filming this video for like the third time and still just the blipping. Once you get the hang of it, it's the most fucking joyous thing on the planet. Oh. And the car loves it. It's a rev happy little puppy that just loves whatever you throw at it. I went for a drive in this car last weekend. I was away on a family holiday in a place called Mangawai, which is further north of where we are now in Dairy Flat. And I got up one morning at 6 AM, the sun was just coming up, and I got in the car and I went for a drive. And it was cold and it was drizzly, and there was no one else on the road. And it was just great. Simple, joyous, uncluttered, uncomplicated, fun. Now, nothing in life's perfect. So what are some of the downsides of the ND? Some of the gear changes in this car are annoyingly difficult to get right. And anyone who owns an ND might know what I'm talking about. Second to third, if you let the clutch out in just the wrong way on the second to third upshift, you get a nasty jolt. I think because the tolerances in this transmission and the drivetrain with the dual mass flywheel, because it's all very tight, this is a car that punishes you if you get it wrong and you feel like shit, because what I said before about the good gear changes and the rev matching blips being all you, yes, but if you get it wrong, guess what, bucko? That was also you, you're shit. So that's really difficult, and it just irks me a little bit sometimes when you've had a really good drive and then you bugger up one gear shift and you feel like a numpty. And I've owned 2 manual transmission cars and of course driven many more, and this is the only one I've driven that can make you feel as bad as it can make you feel good. There's a couple of little feel things that let the ND down. The factory tyres are Bridgestone Potenza S001s, and they are rubbish. They are dreadful, man. They're loud, they don't have much grip. I've had them on the track. Once you heat cycle them, they're next to useless. And to make matters worse, I've done 29,000 kilometres in this car, and all 4 tyres are worn out. Look, I get it. The car gets driven hard. This car is not driven by a vicar to church on Sundays, I can tell you that. But, come on, really? The best it could do was 30,000 Ks? Happily, easily sorted aftermarket. My plan is to stick a set of Michelin Pilot Sports on these. So yes, it's a bad, but it's also fixable, right? Suspension. Holy dooly, does the ND have a lot of body roll from the factory. It's soft, man. For a sports car, I argue it's too soft. You'll hear people say, oh, but it communicates feel and the car will tell you its limit before you hit it. It's really, it's nice to chuck around. Yeah, no, I think it's too soft. So I've already taken some steps to address that. I fitted Cusco uprated sway bars to the car, and it made a world of difference. And I'm 80% happy now with the way the car handles. What I'd like to do is go a little bit further, because I think the other problem with the ND is if you look at the factory ride height, it's a bit dorky. It's a little bit too high. It's great because you never scrape anywhere, but it just looks a little silly. So I'd like to go a little bit further, drop the ride height and stiffen up the suspension slightly more. Got a bit of research to do there though, because I don't want to get it wrong and turn the car into a bone-rattling, vibrating shitbox. Because at the end of the day, I like to take this car on the road and take it round back roads 95% of the time. 5% it'll go to a track and I'll be absolutely on the limit, but 95% of the time it's a fabulous back road cruiser, and I want it to stay that way. I do love that. The ND factory exhaust doesn't look good, doesn't sound good. It's your classic, everyday factory exhaust that doesn't want to scare the horses. I've put an HKS Legamax premium back box on this car. I've done a separate video which I'll link somewhere up here, and that goes through why I picked that exhaust, how it sounds, everything you need to know. So go check that video out as well. Last but not least, the ugly. Mazda factory paint sucks. And when it's a little low-slung sports car and picks up stone chips and road rash, you do not want paint made of fudge. I just bought it, washed it as I've washed every other car I've ever owned with good results. The sun came out as I was drying the car, and oh my God, the horror. I had scratched the shit out of it. A few weeks later, the car went in to have a ceramic paint coating put on it and some paint protection film at the front, just to try and guard from some of those stone chips. And the detailer who did it was telling me, look, Mazda factory paint is just soft. Do your best, don't worry about it. So since then, if you watch my car detailing video, another link, oh, this is just an ad for my channel, sorry, another link. I've developed a system, 2-bucket wash and a spray wax to finish, which means I'm able to clean the car with really lovely results. Yes, you get the occasional swirl, but the car looks really good, and I've reached a good point, but it is a bit of an ugly. I know this is not the world's fastest car. It's not even the world's fastest small sports car. You know, a GR86 will eat it for breakfast. But there's something about the whole package, right? The open roof, the lightweight, the naturally aspirated engine, the rear wheel drive, the 6-speed gearbox. And I'm banging on about all those things, but they all come together. And you get into this car and it's phenomenal. And I don't think I can say it better than that. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate people liking, subscribing, commenting. It's been amazing to talk to MX-5 enthusiasts all over the world. Keep watching, more to come, stay tuned. Well, just as I came to a stop sign. That's good.